He's going to talk about resiliency in a toxic world and how to protect your child's mental and emotional health in this crazy world that we live in, navigating it as moms. And there's so many things that are thrown at us, and Kelsey's going to kind of help us unwind that and break that down. So Kelsey, unmute and welcome to the summit. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for having me again. I love all the time that we get to share together in this space.
I know. Yeah, and if you haven't heard us on podcasts together, jump on Take Back My Brain. There's going to be a few more episodes coming up with Kelsey. We've done some little shorter episodes just on various topics, so be looking for those.
Well, this is so cool. I'm so happy that you're doing this for families. We need you. And I'm excited to share just a little bit of kind of what's on my heart heading back into school. Can I share my screen? I don't see.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, you can totally share your screen.
Give me 1 second because I have no tech support. Okay, let's see. I know it's so funny, right? Like I should be so techie, but I'm not.
That's all right.
You want to just let me know if it's working?
Yes.
Yes.
I can see it.
Pretty blue screen.
Yes, pretty blue screen.
All right.
Outside. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about building resiliency, and let's just introduce myself. My name is Kelsey. I'm a midwife. I have a wellness center in Central Oregon. I've been working with families in natural health care for over 15 years. This has been my passion for a really long time, and I've moved away from midwifery more and more, just really wanting to pass down wisdom for the next generation. And that is what is so cool about Lori's conference and what you guys are doing, because doctors do not have like mainstream, like there is not a solution for what's happening for our kids and for how this generation is changing. It's going to come through the parents. If we're going to build a generation that is healthier, that is verbal, that is resilient, we need to give parents the wisdom of what to do, because we have changed our biological terrain so much that it is literally changing our brains. So this is a really cool place to be. I'm hoping to give you guys some really great tips today about how to start building emotional and mental resiliency in your families right away. So we've talked about this a lot together, but resiliency is the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel my resiliency take a little
low.
Yeah, right? Like I always talk about it like this. If I'm getting out of my car and I bump my elbow and I say too many bad words about that, you know your resiliency is down. Like that's not that big of a deal. And we see our children, you know, I work a lot in this space with autism and with autoimmunity, with vaccine injuries, with pandas and PANS. If you don't know what that is, that's an autoimmune condition that kind of just takes over a child's brain. So basically they get sick, and next thing you know, they have extreme OCD, separation anxiety, tics, nightmares, hallucinations, like really, really strong adverse response to these microbes. And it's really devastating for families. And both in that space with ADHD as well, and then with autism, we see this extreme decrease in resiliency where tiny little things will set our children off, right? So the texture of their socks, asking them to put socks on, like putting any level of demand on their executive functioning, right? Like, please put your shoes on and get in the car. We have to break that down to, you know, I want you to put down what's in your hand. Now I want you to walk to the door. Now sit down. Now put on your socks. Now pick up your shoes. Now untie them. Like we have to break it down into all these little tiny micro steps, because they're so bombarded and so overwhelmed. Their nervous systems are all over the place. And they can't respond to regular day-to-day stressors, forget the big things. And so looking forward as parents, and I always tell parents this preparing for birth, like I can prepare you to have an amazing birth. I can help your body be ready, your mind be ready, but what comes next is parenthood, and that's forever. So we really want to prepare parents to be good parents. And I think the result we all want as parents is to have a child who's well adapted to the world, who's resilient to the stressors of the world, and who, like, we all want high performers, right? We all want kids that understand who they are, who can grasp their identity, and who can grow up into that and really thrive. And that's going to be different for every child, which I think is the most fun part of parenting, is seeing who our children really are and helping them become that. And I want to really clarify this when it comes to resiliency, because when we talk about toxins and we talk about detox and we talk about emotional and spiritual resiliency, we cannot protect or remove every challenge or every difficulty or every hardship or every toxin from our kids' lives. We can't do it. And they're going to walk through hard things, impossible things. My children have faced things that children should never have to face, both like biochemically and emotionally and in our family. And it can be really hard as parents. Like, our goal is to want to protect them from all those things. But I think what's more important in the world that we live in now is to create that resiliency where those challenges become opportunities to grow and to expand, and where they really expand who they are in them instead of trying to protect them from every single one of them. But we know that a lot of our children are in a place where they just can't do that. Like, it's not really an option to let it be a challenge that strengthens them or a stressor that increases their ability to adapt, because they just can't cope. And when I look at our next generation, I think this is one of the very most important things they need, is the ability to adapt to their environment and to grow stronger. And we can talk about this emotionally, relationally, spiritually, biochemically. When we look at health, and Lori and I talk about this all the time, but the healthiest person is the one who adapts the most. And that's true in the biohacking world, right? Like cold plunging and sauna and detox and ketosis. Like, the ability to adapt is an indicator of physical health, but it's also an indicator of emotional health. So when you're looking at your child who might have anxiety or depression, addiction, maybe even suicidal ideations, and the way that they respond to their environment, helping them to adapt where they become stronger from facing challenges is the goal. And it's also the indicator that you're on the right track. When one of my children got Lyme's disease, and he really, really struggled. Migraines, he couldn't be in the car, the sunlight, he would just scream in pain. Joint pain all day, all night long. He would just lay on the floor, grab his knees and cry. Severe aggression. Like, I remember him jumping on my little one and trying to choke him. It was really, really intense. And those symptoms started to go away first, but I really knew he was healing when he became more adaptive and his resiliency grew, and things that would trigger him before didn't anymore. So as you're working through all these tools that I'm going to give you, but also every other speaker here, just remember this in the back of your head. When you see them adapt better, you're on the right track.
Amen. I love that.
All right, so why are our children lacking mental and emotional resiliency? I'm going to cover quite a few things. I'm going to stick pretty basic, but I'm going to pick on parents first because it's our fault. It just is. I can tell you my children lose their ever-loving mind when I lose mine. So
you can't have a bad day by yourself, Kelsey. I always tell people, even the dog, the cat, like, everybody follows the mom because we're the heartbeat of the home. We're the thermostat.
Yeah, we're the canary in the coal mine. And
we are the canary in the coal mine, yes.
Yeah, and I can tell when I need to get myself together because my kids kind of...
chaos everywhere.
For sure. So these are just some statistics I pulled up to kind of prove a point, all right? So 48% of parents, according to the CDC, want to make sure this is on the official record. I'm not a huge supporter of the CDC. However, this is where the data came from, just so you know. They report complete overwhelm. And if you go and look at this source, they're actually elaborating where they do not feel like they can cope with their life.
Yep.
That level of overwhelm, that they cannot cope with their life. 48%. 78% of all parents reported severe and recent adverse mental health symptoms this year. 70%. So
That's
this
kind
was
of overwhelming, Kelsey.
I know. This was
Yeah.
like debilitating anxiety, severe depression, like too tired to get out of bed to take their kids to school, maybe other types of events like losses and things like that. But 70% of parents are having experiences in their lives where they just aren't able to cope with parenting. And these are specific to parenting, by the way, not just the rest of life. This questionnaire or survey or whatever was really about parenting. So this is a big deal. 41% of parents, according to U.S. Surgeon General, were too stressed to function. I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's not funny, but
It's not funny, but it's like, holy cow.
It's a really big deal. We cannot heal our children's bodies until we have regulated nervous systems. And our children are designed, I'll talk about this more later, they are biochemically designed to co-regulate with their parents.
Yes.
So when their parents look like my screen, we are in so much trouble with our next generation. And it's gonna start with parents, not only because, you know, we can pick on the mainstream medicine, like they do not have the answers. I don't know how to say that more emphatically. We cannot look to mainstream medicine for answers for our children. And if we rely on pharmaceuticals to medicate them, to regulate them, to help them sleep, they are going to grow up and it's going to become worse. They are going to be physically dependent on substances, on screens, and they are going to be dysregulated. We have to give them the opportunity to face this challenge, to develop resiliency, and to learn how to co-regulate with another person normally, okay? So that being said, 17 million children in the United States are estimated to be living with a parent with a severe substance abuse disorder.
Wow.
That's also really telling, because why is that happening?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to be in that position. Like, nobody wants to be dependent on any sort of pharmaceutical or drug or alcohol or whatever it is, but they never learn to regulate their nervous system. And so as parents, we really have to look at ourselves and say, do we have the ability to regulate our own nervous systems? And are we a safe place that our children can regulate theirs? And if not, how do we become that place? And one thing I love about Lori, is you give parents that opportunity to get there very, very quickly. You know, we hear so much in social media about doing the work and hunting down your trauma and understanding, you know, in the spiritual, in the Christian space, what are the lies you've believed about yourself and how can you flip that to find the truth about who you are. That's really important work, but it's hard and it takes a lot of time. And when we talk about amino acid and nutritional therapy, we can bring the brain and the nervous system into a place where that work is so much easier and it's so much more accessible because we're not at war with our own biochemistry anymore. And I think to give all the parents a break, right? I just was really hard on us, but it's not our fault that our biochemistry is messed up, right? Like, we can look back to our parents, like we can keep shifting it back. We can also look at the toxicity component, right? The toxins we've been exposed to through our air, through our water, through big pharma, through our food, through vaccines, through whatever it is, everyone's exposure is different. That has changed our biochemistry forever. And that's not our fault. But now we're in this place where if you're here, you're probably a parent. And we have tools to heal our bodies and to change that. And if you don't hear anything else that I say today, I want you to hear this. What you break through for yourself, you break through for your children.
I love that.
No, in no other situation on the planet in eternity do you get to give I'm crying now, such a beautiful gift as breaking these trends and giving them to the next generation. And what you get to do, like the authority that you have as a mother in your home is this soft and nurturing, safe place, but it's also extremely powerful. Don't underestimate how fierce you get to be for your kids in this space. You get to decide what they take with them and what they pass on to their children.
Yes.
Okay, I have the statistics somewhere. I didn't put it in the slide, but when you deal with your family's toxicity and you co-regulate your nervous system, if you look at, I think, 4 generations of a family of 4, it ends up being like over like 800,000 people or something crazy whose lives are directly impacted by your decision to regulate your nervous system and to detox your own body. That's how much these things accumulate and pass down. I'm sorry I don't have the right number. That's not very professional, but just trust me. I'm honest.
And that's okay. And I think the important thing is when you're saying all that and all those statistics and changing 800,000 people by you making the decision, people think you're crazy, right? They're like, oh, she's just overreacting. She's oversensitive, blah, blah, blah. But no, you get to be, like you said, fierce. You fiercely guard what you just healed, what you let go of, what the Lord just put as a miracle in your life. You get to hold on to that and you get to share that and pass that on to your kids. And there's no shame. There's no, don't ever feel bad about protecting that fiercely. Even something that seems good, or there's a person in your life, or, somebody that comes into your kid's life, it's okay to protect that fiercely because you worked so hard for that and the Lord gave you that miracle. Like, as us mamas, because we're like the mama bears, right? We're not going to give that away. We're not going to give that up easily. And I think we have to keep standing. And as we keep standing, people will start to respect that and honor that.
Yeah.
It's when that hasn't been respected and honored because of lots of different reasons, and we can get into that. But
For sure.
I just appreciate you bringing that up because it's sacred, and we as mamas, our job is sacred. And I know not everyone on here is a mom, or you're a grandma, you're an aunt. Just being a woman on here, and I know maybe there's some guys on here too, but mainly speaking to women, your job is sacred in our environment, in our society. God created you to be uniquely fierce for that next generation.
Yeah. And if there are any dads listening too, like, we're not trying to leave you out. This just was not
at all
for you. But like, I do want to say, part of the reason why mothers and grandmothers and aunts have the job we have is because the men aren't doing their job. They're just not. And dads carry the authority that a father carries to change the next generation is probably one of the most beautiful and powerful forces that you will ever meet. And as a wife or a partner or whatever, you don't get to make them do that. Like, they have to decide to do that. But I don't even know how to describe it. Like, what they can bring in changing the trajectory of an entire family should not be underestimated. So it's really unlimited. Like, dad gets to set the tone. It's really, really powerful. But that also means it's really, really important that you can co-regulate with him as a child, right? Or as a spouse. And so looking at all of these things I'm talking about that bring us into dysregulation, I'm not saying that to dig on parents, right? Like, I'm empowering you because none of us are ever going to do it perfect. We're all going to be totally messed up. Like, we face our own humanity in so many ways every single day, and our kids love to remind us how messed up we are. But in that imperfection, and in the way we handle our mistakes, and in the way we boost our own resiliency in our challenges, that changes the trajectory of our kids. And dads, you literally are going to change the world if you grab onto that and go. It makes me more excited than anything. And moms, we're in just a different type of space, but we get to do the same thing too. And I see families completely transforming all of the time. And it is absolutely like intoxicatingly contagious when families make these changes and their families start to heal. Everybody notices around them and everybody wants in on it because they feel that safety, they feel that co-regulation that's happening, and you can see kids heal. Even if like you ignore everything else that I say, if you can create an environment where kids can co-regulate with parents safely, they will start to heal. And if you do everything else, all the fancy detoxing and pandas work and autism work, but they don't have that ability to regulate the nervous system, you're going to get stuck. This is, you do not move. There's what's that game Rika was talking about, Monopoly? Like, what is it? You can't pass go or something like that.
Yeah. Monopoly, yeah.
Yeah, you don't regulate your nervous system, you don't pass go. So it's super important. Another reason our kids are not regulating well is toxin accumulation. And I touched on this briefly. I'm not going to talk into it too much today, but 100% of our children are experiencing unprecedented toxicity. And it's coming from everywhere. And this is where I'm just going to put this gentle reminder. So many moms have crazy anxiety about the toxins their kids are exposed to. So I'm going to say this one time, super gently, but also strongly. You have to let it go. It is absolutely terrifying, the toxin exposure that we cannot control. But you have to let it go. You can't carry it around all day long. Make a list if you need to. What toxins can you control and what toxins can you not? I have free resources about this somewhere on my Instagram. If you find it, there's an entire thing about free ways you can detox your home and really reduce their exposure. But the emotional load, you have to let it go. Recognize this is a part of the problem. Do what you can. And then remember, we can flip the script. The toxin accumulation our kids are facing is a huge detriment to their health, but it's also an opportunity for them to adapt. It's also a challenge that they can walk through and increase resiliency and learn tools. My 7-year-old child can talk detox circles around every naturopathic doctor that I know. I'm not saying that like to diminish like the integrity and incredible brain of these doctors, because you're the most brilliant people I know, but my kids can talk detox circles around you. It doesn't mean they're smarter than you. It means they've adapted to their challenge. And now they have this incredible tool, and they're going to take that to their kids and their kids and their kids. And they're learning to adapt in this world and thrive in this world. And it's very, very cool to watch. So let the emotional burden of it go. You can't control it. You can't protect them from all of it. Do what you can and give them the opportunity to rise to the challenge. Biologically, they're in it anyway. So emotionally, let them. It's super hard. Okay, next challenge, dysbiosis and microbiome dysfunction. Okay, we are biologically designed to interact with microbes. They are a huge part of how our brain functions, how our body functions. I'm a master clinical herbalist, right? I have unmarked hours formulating herbals. And what I can tell you is it doesn't matter how perfect the formula is, okay? And Lori knows this about me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I don't believe in mediocrity. So I take my herbal formulas very seriously. But I will tell you, if you do not have the microbiome component, they will not work, no matter how perfect they are. Because our body is biologically designed to get what we need from herbs with the microbes that we have in our gut. So if we don't have those microbes, we can't use the herbs. So I'm really trying to bring you guys back to, and I'm going to tie this all together for you later on in my little talk here, but we get so much of what we need from each other and what we need from the earth to heal, that all these fancy protocols and other things come next. When we reconnect with, and this is going to sound kind of woo-woo, but I don't mean it that way. When we reconnect with the earth, we recharge ourselves, we re-inoculate ourselves with the right microbes, everything else works better. So Lori talks so much about amino acid therapy, which is such a powerful and incredible tool. But with severe dysbiosis and microbiome dysfunction, like that's a huge part of the reason why we need it. Our bugs aren't helping us make the right neurotransmitters that we need. Think about how important that is. Before you go and take another round of antibiotics for a cold, remember those microbes in your body that you're killing are a part of what makes your brain feel good. It's not just like, are you going to get diarrhea or have constipation or have your tummy feel funny from antibiotics? It's going to change your brain. It's a really big deal what we're doing to our microbiome. And in the space that I work in, primarily with pandas, PANS, autoimmunity, and autism, I would just want to bring this up. In normal population, 9 of 10 infants lack Bifidobacterium infantis. This microbe is one that they get from their mother. Levels rise in the 3rd trimester of pregnancy. They're extremely abundant in breast milk. And this is literally the foundation for what our immune system is built off of. So one level of resiliency, this time of year, I get unprecedented amount of emails. How do I help my kids not get sick? Because when they get sick, they get anxious, and all the things that happen when kids get sick is we need this microbe. This is how they're developing their immune system. And when their immune system isn't working normally, they don't have this. 9 of 10 kids aren't getting this microbe that our immune system is structured around. That's no wonder all our kids have autoimmune related conditions. If you're new to my rant about what our kids are going through, ADHD and autism are autoimmunity. That is literally what they are. They're not behavioral problems. They're not a different kind of brain. It's autoimmunity. There are other components, like I'm not trying to drastically simplify it, but it is an autoimmune response in the gut and in the brain. If we look at the Mennonite population, 7 of 10 kids lack this, so they're doing something a little better. Low resource areas, it's 8 of 10. And part of that is how we're feeding our babies, but I'm not going to get into that. But we need to move back to nature and, really work on healing our microbiome. So without getting into complex things, the easiest thing, like get outside, get dirty, let them eat the sand, just get in the lake, reconnecting with nature, for lack of, a more simplified way to talk about that. There's so much else you can do that gets complicated, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. But microbiome is really important for mental and emotional resiliency. Rushing. Okay, now this is my problem. This is my problem. This is most women's problem. We are carrying too much. We are carrying too much, and we are doing too many things, and we're letting our children inherit that problem. So 80% of children are in school full time and doing 1+ extracurricular activity. That's 8 to 11 structured hours per day. I don't know about you, but my kids don't push 16-hour days. They're exhausted.
Right.
If 11 hours of those are structured, we're in trouble. If you look at the science behind resiliency in children, or if we look at top performers, right, our elitists in the world, their children are not having 11 hours structured per day. It takes on average, I think I saw it was 400 times of repetitive information for them to learn it. Or 20 minutes of play. I don't know about you, but I'd rather let my kids figure something out.
More efficient.
With 20 minutes of play than 400 times in a structured, repetitive environment. They are not designed to have this much structured time. And I get that this is the way that we live. Not everyone's going to homeschool their kids. That is totally, every parent really, I don't think every parent should homeschool. I'm not saying that. But I am saying if they're in school, we also need to help them find balance, to not be rushing around, to structure in rest, like what Rika was saying. We need them to have time to rest and not feel like we're always bouncing from one thing to the next. And like I said, I'm not good at this. I also recognize that. And so I have people in my life that rest with my kids. Sorry, Lori. I just full confession online here. But I am working on this in my life and asking for help. And I've made some huge changes, and it's increased my resiliency 10,000% to not have to carry everything. So moms, you do not have to do it all. And you really can't. So stop trying and let there be rest. So rushing is going to decrease your resiliency, their resiliency, and you guys are going to co-regulate to chaos. So, okay, so here's the math. We have all these things stacked against increasing emotional and mental resiliency in our kids. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about cellular health here, because this is what I absolutely love doing and teaching. And this is the linchpin that changes everything. Everything that you have tried that is not working is because it's not getting deep enough into the cell, or the nervous system isn't regulated enough. Like, really, that's where we come down to. And I'm sure lots of people could argue with me, but prove me wrong. I'd love to join that conversation. When we have toxic stressors, emotional stressors, all these physical stressors, we are using up the energy inside the cell. And sorry, I was checking the time. Every single thing requires functioning mitochondria. I'm going to tell you right now, every single child that I see in my office has malfunctioning mitochondria. Every single one of them. Parents come and they're like, oh, can we do the mitochondria function test? I'm like, sure, but you don't need to. Like,
we already know that it's not functioning.
Let's save you, I don't know. Yeah, let's save you $650. Let me just tell you what's happening. It's so important. And the problem is our bodies are so drained from the biochemical energy that we need to heal that I don't know, you guys probably feel like this, like you're doing all the right things. You've taken out gluten, you've taken out dairy, you have them on the right diet. Maybe you're changing their schedule. You're making sure they get enough sleep. It just feels like you're hitting wall after wall after wall and getting your kids into the healing space that you want them to be in. And this is the most important place for increasing resiliency. And there's all these fancy biohacking things and detox things out there that Lori and I both love doing. I see Dr. Liz on here too. We could talk to you guys about that all day, but I'm going to talk to you about the basic things that you can do to just increase cell energy in your day-to-day in your home. That plus a co-regulated nervous system, a safely regulated nervous system, is going to change everything in your kids having increased resiliency going to school. So I put this picture on here because our bodies respond to our environment. And this is emotionally, this is our microbiome, this is our biological terrain, this is the air, this is the EMF, this is our water, this is toxins. When I say environment, I mean everything that influences our cellular activity that drains or replenishes our energy. So if you think about this water, and let's just say our children are living in one of these, which one is easier to heal in? This one on the right, that is obviously dirty, doesn't really look very inviting. Like, I don't really want to swim in this water. What is in that? And then the one on the left, you're kind of like, ooh, I want to go jump in that, stick my sand in the toes. Our bodies really aren't any different, and neither are our brains, right? So when we're talking about healing our mind and creating resiliency in the mind, we really want to change our environment as much as possible while we're working on building resiliency, right? So I know I talked about not trying to eliminate all challenges. That's not this, okay? We do want to change the environment and clean it up so that when challenges come, we can use the energy that we have to have a biological adaptation, to build resiliency in our body instead of just try and cope with the toxins in our environment. There is so much bombardment of our time, of our emotional stress, physical stress, dysregulation, dysbiosis, heavy metal and chemical toxicity, that our body is using all of its biological energy to deal with those things instead of adapt and grow and respond. Does this make sense what I'm saying? So the more we remove these interferences and we change the environment to be one that increases our cellular ability to adapt, the more we are going to adapt and become stronger and heal. And this is really, really important. The same thing, you know, if you're one of my listeners, you're probably here thinking about autism. Development of their verbal and social skills that you want so bad happens in a healing environment. It's not going to happen in a toxic environment because they just do not have enough biological energy. And it's like, I'm going to talk to you more about this right now, but our body is made mostly of water, okay? Per molecular count, we're virtually 99% water. And we are bioelectric, okay? So this could get really, really complicated, but I'm really into this part of how we interact with our environment. So I'm going to keep it simple because that was my goal today. But that ability to hold the charge inside the cell, inside the water that we have in our body, is what makes us live. It's everything. It is so important, and it's so mysterious, which is what I love about it. It's so mysterious. It comes from contact with the earth and from our environment, and it drains. So if we are like a battery, if our cells are like batteries, the more things we're running off that battery, the less energy we have to adapt and do what we need to do, right? So that battery is dealing with our toxins, it's dealing with our infections, it's dealing with our emotional stress, it's dealing with our crazy, dysregulated, rushing parents. And if we can unplug some of those things, it's going to have more energy to heal. And this is where, this is a faith-based conference. Lori's put it on, so I'm just going to say this to you this way. Please let this hit deep. God designed your child with a self-healing mechanism inside their mitochondria.
Yes.
When the environment is right, you do not have to make them heal. Their body is equipped on a one-way road. Our biological design goes one direction. It goes in healing. It goes in self-repair. That is the only operating system that exists inside ourselves, is to heal themselves. That's it. The problem is there's too much interference. There's not enough energy. The mitochondria are too busy doing other jobs. So when we look at our kids, we cannot eliminate all of the problems. You are not going to do it. If anyone was going to do it, it's me. Okay? Because I don't quit. I'm unstoppable. I'm relentless. I'm stubborn as a mule, tied to another mule that doesn't want to do what any of the mules want to do. Okay? And I can't do it. You cannot do it. But their body can. So here's some things to do in their environment. I'm going to talk about lighting. I'm going to pick on you guys again. If your child is staying up late at night, looking at blue light past sunset, you are dramatically decreasing their resiliency. It sucks because we all do it. But our bodies are designed to wake with the sun and sleep with the sun, and that artificial blue light at night changes the way that they produce neurotransmitters, which is what makes them feel happy, safe, calm, and connected. It's changing their brain. It reduces their resiliency to fight infections. It reduces their resiliency against things like ADHD, autism. It causes biochemical chaos, mitochondrial chaos. It literally changes their mitochondria, okay? So what can you do? You can replace lighting in your house. There should be no, okay, I'm gonna be kind of crazy here, but no fluorescent lights. That's just a hard no, hard pass. Bring in low-level lighting like salt lamps, yellow LED bulbs, or even better, red ones after sunset. Get a low flicker, yellow. Again, there's so much free information about this on my Instagram, because that is going to help rebalance that mitochondria signaling and really, really improve the resiliency. It sounds crazy. I get that I sound crazy, but the mitochondria, like I said, that is where their biological ability to adapt and self-heal exists, in the mitochondria. Guess where the mitochondria get their orders and their signals from? Primarily light. That is not a small thing to change, and it is something you have 100% control over. That is very affordable. Maybe you have a kid that's a gamer, so you're like, I can't really control how much give them some blue light blocking glasses. They think they're cool. Put a screen cover on their device that protects them from the blue light. It's not going to be perfect, but you can change this and create lighting That's beneficial. Sunlight. Okay, first thing in the morning, last thing in the day. Get them outside, even if it's 10 minutes. It sounds stupid, but it will increase their biochemical resiliency a lot. Okay, don't underestimate how important that is. Grounding. This is same thing. We get an electrical charge from the earth. Get them outside barefoot. Get them in the dirt, get them in the river. If you're, a lot of kids are really sensitive. They don't like to be barefoot outside. Fine, throw them in the river, throw them in the lake, like spray them down with the hose, do something, like make them catch a frog. I don't know, like get them connected somehow, because that's how they recharge their battery. Okay, if your kid is an iPhone, you got to plug them in. Their systems are shutting down. You got to plug them back in. Sunlight and outside, things you can do every day. They seem small. Over time, they recharge. Okay, I'm going to just keep saying this. Those things recharge their biochemical ability to heal and adapt. It's super important. So when we're talking about mental resiliency, we need the right bugs, and we need the right charge in our cells, and we need to produce the right neurotransmitters. So much of the reason why we aren't doing that right now is because we're disconnected from our environment, and we're living in this kind of like humanly created environment instead of the one that God made that charges us. Go so backpacking, go camping, baby steps, whatever you got to do. It's so important. Okay, diet. I'm not going to harp on you guys about diet. I know it's really hard, but processed foods are tanking their resiliency. Give them real food, okay? We could talk about complex diets all the time. I'm going to give you a shortcut. If God made it, they can eat it, okay? If they love candy, fine. Give them candy that has ingredients God made. If God made it, they can eat it. If it's made in a lab or you can't read what's on the back of the paper, God didn't make it. And believe it or not, there is an intention behind that to harm us. So try and start making little swaps. Pick their favorite things, swap them out for the same thing that's made with real ingredients. Doesn't have to be as complicated as it is on social media of all these fancy diets. Over time, if they are connected to their environment, they eat what God made, they're going to heal, and they're going to become resilient people who know how to take care of themselves. Okay, low EMF. We live in a world that is so hyper connected, and this is really, really hard. If you happen to live in a low EMF area, you are extremely lucky. But do what you can. I also have information about how to hardwire your house. If you are, if you have family members that are really into like gaming or connected or run businesses online, it can be really hard to convince them to turn the Wi-Fi off. At least turn the Wi-Fi off at night, unplug the router at night. Everybody can do that. The last person to use it goes to sleep, unplug it. That will really increase their cellular resiliency and their sleep. For sensitive people with high heavy metal and high infection load, dealing with the EMF can change everything for their mood, for their mental and emotional resiliency. I don't know if you know this. It's just one example. Lyme's disease, EMF actually activates those bacteria. So for children who are struggling with that infection, being in a high EMF environment totally changes their mood and their ability to be resilient to anything because it activates the infection. So do what you can. Hardwiring your internet is inexpensive and easy, and if you have techie people in your house, it's actually way faster and better anyway. So I'd show you, we're all hardwired here and it's amazing. But okay, lower stress. We talked about this with rushing. Trauma, help them deal with their trauma. Every kid's gonna have it, and parents, I believe, are equipped with the discernment to know how to deal with their own child's trauma. Just don't ignore it. It can be easy to ignore it because we're overwhelmed. All these other things talked about: sunlight, reduce toxins, RLT, red light therapy. This is a really great way we talked about not having enough energy in the cell to deal with their environment. Red light therapy is a great way to boost their energy. It also helps with that circadian rhythm and counteract that blue light exposure. If you have a kid that's getting a lot of blue light, red light therapy is a great way to counteract that. And you can do it this is a weird way to say it, but you can do red light therapy without their consent. Right, Lori? Like, just yes. Plug that sucker in and let them bathe in it. Give them a little red light bath. Okay, so other things you can do, regulate your nervous system. We talked about this as parents, but we're exhausted, and healing their nervous system starts with ours. We have to accept that. We have to let go of what we can't control. But when we understand our kids co-regulate with us, we can take our responsibility more seriously and keeping ourselves well. Rika was talking about not becoming burnt out. And so I'm giving you a little motivation here. It trickles down. And it doesn't just trickle down to your kids' kids. They're going to inherit what you built. What you build in yourself, your kids are going to inherit, whether that's a win or a loss, whether that's increased resiliency or decreased resiliency. From conception, from the moment that an egg is fertilized, they inherit your mitochondrial resiliency. None of us can undo that. Like, that's already been done. Okay? But we can pass on to them what we're learning. Like, God was so gracious. There's so much grace every day. There's more and more grace, more and more mercy, that we have the opportunity to pass on to our kids what we don't deserve, what we didn't earn. Okay? We can do the work and pass it on. It's so important. Resources for parents. I love amino acid therapy. This tool I learned from Lori, and it's completely changed my practice because people are regulating their nervous systems better, they're feeling better, and it's trickling down and affecting their kids. So we now, like, I have a concierge program for autism and pandas where I actually teach parents how to reverse these conditions in their kids. And it's almost a requirement. Like, I value autonomy, so it's not a real requirement, but that it's almost a requirement that the parents do amino acid therapy. It helps that much, okay? I know it probably sounds like, oh yeah, these are all great ideas, Kelsey, whatever. They are world changing. Parents taking this seriously is literally going to change generations. It is so important. HPA access support, you can look that up. I don't know where I'm at with time, but I don't have time to talk about that. But that's like breathing techniques and meditation and things you can do that help regulate the different parts of your brain together. Lighting, we already talked about lighting. Sometimes anxiety comes from inside us, from our microbial imbalance, from our trauma, from the way that we choose to think. There's a lot of anxiety that is choice driven, right? And as believers, we focus on that one. And we tend to believe, okay, if we believe in God and we're anxious, it means we're not doing something right, or we're doing something wrong, or we're thinking wrong. And if we just thought better, the anxiety would go away. There is some anxiety that is within your power, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of your anxiety is coming from your lighting. It's coming from your blue light. It's coming from your phone, from your food. It's coming from your environment. It's not coming from inside you. It's coming from outside you. And no matter how hard you fight your anxious thoughts, you're also still going to have anxiety if you don't address your environment. It costs $10 to buy a non-flicker red light bulb to put by your bed to use after sunset. It is not that hard, and it is going to change your brain. Give it a month. Don't do it one night and be like, I still feel anxious, Kelsey, the next morning. Like, you've been bathing in toxic light for your entire life. Give it a month. And I'm really harping on this because it is part of how our cells get signaling to do their job, right? So if your cell's supervisor is light and your supervisor is toxic,
right?
Like, are you getting the picture? Like, pretend like your body is Costco and there's all the people running around doing all their jobs. And let's say the one person that tells all those people what to do is just an absolute imbecile. Like, it's total chaos. Okay, changing the light trickles down, and it does take time. It doesn't work extremely fast, but part of your anxiety is coming from your light. Cortisol detox, there is some really simple ways to do this, believe it or not, to bring that cortisol down and really just help you feel more regulated and feel better. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Minerals. Okay, I didn't talk about this as much as I had planned to, but you need minerals. You need minerals, you need minerals, you need minerals. You need organ meats, you need liver, everyone hates me now. You need bone broth, you need minerals. However, you need oysters. However you can get those in your body. If you love oysters, go for it. If you love salmon, go for it. Raw fish, I'm all in on the raw fish. Don't worry about parasites, that's a bunch of baloney. Go for the minerals, okay? Chiropractic care really can help regulate your nervous system quickly. Get a good nervous system based chiropractor. It's kind of like, Lori, I hope you have someone else talking about this because I'm going to ruin it, but it opens the lines of communication between your nervous system and helps clear things out. So if you have stuff stuck somewhere, getting a good adjustment can kind of get the flow going again and really help assimilate some of those emotions and stressors and anxiety. Community, we're not designed to do it alone, okay? We've all gone through our stuff, okay? I've gone through a lot of stuff, and I was put in a position where I had to do a lot of the work alone, and I'm telling you, we are not designed to do it alone. Finding community completely changed my life. It completely changed the way I adapted and completely changed the way I boosted my resiliency. And allowing people to come in and give to me and replenish to me and hold me accountable, like Lori was talking about, we do, that has been one of the most life-giving changes I have ever made. Because some of us are just that person where like we know we can do it ourselves and we grind and we go. We're not designed to do that. We're designed to do it together. But if your community is toxic, if your community is bringing you down, if your community is like, what's this stupid red light you got by your kid's bed? Like, find new people, okay? There are so many beautiful, incredible people in this world, I'm telling you, that will be on your team. Go find them. You need them. Go find them. And then go be that person. Each one of you gets to decide today, are you going to be that person that takes all this information you're learning from Lori and all these incredible people that are on here, and are you going to do something about it? And are you going to be that person and give it back to somebody else and change generations? Or are you going to be the person that says, yeah, that's fine. That sounds like a lot of work. You know, someone else will do it. Maybe, you know, you decide which person you're going to be and just be that top percent, because we have enough crappy people that don't care. Be a person that cares, and these things will change. They will change. I promise. Your kids will. Resiliency is built. It's not just inherited. It doesn't happen in a moment. It's every single moment and a response. Moment and a response. We look at our kids' nervous systems. They are born with fight or flight. They are born with panic and fight. They are only born with that survival part of their nervous system. Did you know that? The part of their nervous system that calms and that comforts develops. They panic, parents respond. This part develops. They panic, parents respond. They cry, they're answered. Okay, this whole like, I'm going on a tangent now. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to prove a point. This whole cry it out. Leave them alone in a room, let them cry, they'll figure it out. They don't figure it out. They're biologically designed to build this part of their nervous system that calms and regulates them by your response, by having that affection. And so we have an entire generation of kids that didn't have that as infants, but we can still develop that part of their nervous system. It's not too late. So learn to respond. I just went off a tangent. That should be like a whole other call. So I'm going to jump off of that.
We could do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And now I forget where I'm going, but when we're talking about regulating our kids' nervous systems now, do the amino acid therapy, reduce as much interference as you can, optimize their environment, which includes you. Optimize yourself. Get what you need. Get community that can help you. Do the Oligo scan. Okay, I do not guess on supplementation. It is 2025. It is 2025. We have incredible technology that can tell you exactly what is happening in their cells with their minerals and with their heavy metals. I don't know if you guys, if this is in the way. I don't know how much of my screen. Okay.
You're good.
We don't have to guess on what they need mineral content wise. My practice ships Oligo scans to anyone. If you want to know what's going on with your body, just be prepared that it's kind of like someone reading your mail, okay? It's prophecy and technology. It's really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and there's people all over the country that have them. I think Lori has one.
I
So you can contact us, we'll ship it to you, or contact OligoScan, they'll tell you where to find someone in person. Stop guessing about supplementation. Most supplements are absolute garbage. Okay? Don't get off this and be like, "Oh, Kelsey said minerals," and go buy a bunch of don't do that. Figure out what it is they need. How can they get it from food? Optimize, get everything they can from food. We're designed to get it from food because not only then are you actually giving them the minerals they need, but you're also feeding their microbiome. You can't out supplement their lifestyle. It will not work. You can't be like, "Oh, I'm going to let them have blue light and goldfish and eat all this manufactured fake stuff and then give them a really good supplement to fix it." It doesn't work. If it worked, we'd be fine. We're not fine. For the people in the back, our kids are not okay.
Right.
But they can be.
Fine.
Yeah, so 2 for 1. Get their minerals from food. Oysters, organ meats. Okay, this is what I do, and don't tell my kids. Actually, my kids know, they won't care. Don't tell your kids. I buy the heart and the liver and the kidneys, and I cut it into hand-sized pieces, and I freeze it. And I take a cheese grater, and I grade that frozen liver and heart. Heart is easy to hide. Liver's hard. Into all of their food, and they have no idea that it's there.
No idea. It's fantastic.
No idea that it's there. My kids do now because they'll do it with me. But, baby steps. Hide it in their food. Targeted supplementation, I just talked about this. Phospholipids. Give them phospholipids, okay? Body Bio PC, ancestral foods. Don't do crappy supplements. If you need help, see one of us. We'll just tell you what to do. Advanced cellular healing and detox. This is what Lori and I also do in our private practices. And I put this list here not to tell you to do them, but to tell you if you think parasites, biofilm, heavy metals, autoimmunity, Lyme, SIBO, PANIS-PANS, autism, if these are why your children have decreased resiliency, then it's time to get a little bit of support. Do not go and try and do a random parasite cleanse you saw on Instagram. It's just going to stir the pot and decrease their resiliency. Why? Because they don't have enough resiliency yet to tolerate these things. You have to do these basic things that I am telling you. I'm not just giving you crappy things away for free. This is what I do with my highest paying clients. The lighting, the grounding, the diet, the nervous system regulation. You nail those things, and then you get support and a targeted plan and do these things, and you will win. You cannot lose if you do it in that order. Regulate their nervous system, increase their cell charge, and then go after the monsters in the closet. I promise, promise, promise. I want what's best for you. I want what's best for your kids. The stressors in their life can be their biggest victories. They can move through them and move from being extremely sensitive and overreactive to everything in their environment to being strong and adaptable and powerful and changing other people's lives. Just do things in the right order. Lori asked us to give some sort of special offer. Here's mine. You can screenshot this if you want. My office knows more about this than I do. To be honest, I'm not sure what it is. It looks like
just screenshot it.
It looks like we're giving you some money. Yeah. It was so fun being here. I really hope that you guys were encouraged. And like I said, if you don't take anything else away from this, I just want you to hear this declaration for yourself. You carry authority as parents to change the biological, biochemical, spiritual, and emotional environment your child's brain develops in today. And to continue to make small changes over time that will change the trajectory of their life. Are they going to be in the 97% who suffer, in the 41% of parents who can't cope with their life, or are your kids gonna be the ones who thrive? That is, it's up to us. We can't do it perfect, but you can give them the environment to become the most adaptable, resilient, powerful, world-changing people. I don't know about you, but if I do that, I'll die happy. So
Amen.
Thank you for having me. Lori, you're amazing. God bless you. And I hope to see you all again soon.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was phenomenal. I know I'm going to go back and re-listen to that again because I always enjoy learning from you, Kelsey. So such great information, such conviction, such compassion.